What's up, y'all? It's your girl KK. Make some noise, y'all, with the foot. No, welcome to my channel. My name's KK, also known as Kalore. You may know me from the reality TV show Love Island. I was on season 5 for the USA, and yeah, that's probably most likely why you're here. So let's get into it. Y'all been real thirsty to know about my Love Island experience, so I hope y'all got y'all's tea. I definitely got my wine, because we finna get real quenched around here. Okay, I'm gonna sit back and get comfortable. I hope y'all are getting comfortable, because it's about to get real. I think I'm gonna do 2 parts to this video because I got so many questions about my experience, and this first part is gonna be about my experience getting on the show and all the way up until I enter the villa, which I did enter the villa on day 1. OG shit. But then I'll do part 2 about my experience in the villa and a little Q&A. So we should just hop right into it, because your girl be long-winded and I be trying to tell y'all the story and I just be going on and on and on, and be like, KK, what was the question? Wait. Okay, let's set the scene. So basically, during this summer of 2023, I was working as a travel nurse. I was on an assignment in Bishop, California, which is like Northern California, like in the boondocks somewhere. And I was watching the show Love Island. I literally had just discovered Love Island, and I was like binge watching it, the USA version on Netflix. And yeah, I just started binge watching it. I was heavy watching it. I was working night shifts at my job. Once I get settled into my shift or whatever, I turn it on to my phone on Netflix or whatever, and I'd watch it. One night I was talking to my mom, and she was like asking me about what I was watching. I was like, you know, whatever, I'm watching this show on Netflix called Love Island. And she was like, what is that about? And I started telling her what it was about. She was like, She was like, you like stuff like that? And I was like, it's really good, like I like it. And I was like super excited to tell her about it. And I was like, shoot, they need me on this show. And she was like, do they? They need you on the show? And I was like, yeah, they really do need me on the show. And she was like, get on it then. Like, she was just being funny. She was just like throwing something out there. She was not serious at all. Like, she was just talking, just, you know, talking out her neck. So I took it as a challenge. I was like, okay, get on it. Okay, I'm gonna get on it. So that's exactly what I did. When I went into work the next night, I just happened to, I was like being curious. I was like, let me just see like what the application is, if it's open, you know, are they casting right now? So I just Googled it, Love Island USA applications. I filled out an application. That night at work, I just submitted pictures like from my Instagram and stuff that I had already taken. And you know, I told my story on the application. Then next thing you know, I'm getting a call literally like a day. I think it was the next day, I got a phone call from a casting director, and she was like, hi, I'm calling from Love Island or whatever. I immediately called her back, and I was like, oh my God. And I was just like shook. I was like, is this happening for real? Like, is this a scam? I had told my mama and everything. And she was like, girl, that's probably a scam. And I was like, I don't know. But I just kept going with it, because in my mind, I could see myself in that villa on that show. Like, I was literally manifesting it without knowing it. So anyways, fast forward, I got through to, you know, the next round, and the casting director, she told me, she was like, we have to hurry up and get you through, because literally the last day for casting is on Friday. And I'm pretty sure this was like a Wednesday. Yeah, it was like a Wednesday. And she was like, last day is Friday, so we got to get you in, da-da-da-da-da, they're gonna love you. And I was like, okay. So I met with them, and they did love me. And you know, I did another interview, and then basically I was still on a contract in California, right? It was ending in like 2 weeks, I think. Like, I was already gonna be leaving in like 2 weeks. I told my job, I was like, hey, like there's a big chance I'm gonna be leaving way sooner than, you know, 2 weeks. Whatever, they were super understanding. I was like, I might be getting casted for a TV show, and they were really excited for me. They were very supportive. They were like, what? But at the same time, you know, because like me at work and me outside of work is 2 different girls. Like, if you met me at my job, you didn't meet KK, you met Vakayla, for sure. So fast forward, I ended up just going ahead and quitting the job, let go of the contract, and I drove back to Texas, because I was like, well, if I'm gonna be on this show and they need me to do all these things, like I gotta get back home. Like, I don't have anything here. I didn't have any clothes, any bikinis. Like, I didn't have anything, and they were basically telling me like, hey, if you're chosen, hypothetically, like, we're gonna be needing you to do this ASAP. Like, you have to get these things done. So yeah, I drove back to Texas. It took me like 30 hours to drive from California to home in Texas. And I got there and I got on my Zoom, baby. I was getting it done. I was making orders. I didn't know if I was going anywhere. I was just ordering stuff. I was getting my life, like, I was checking off the boxes, baby. I didn't give a damn. Cause if you would have asked me, even my mama was like, you don't even know if you're gonna be on the show. You spending all this money. Like, girl, like, it was just not a reality for anybody but me. I seen it. I seen the vision, okay? I was like, no, I'm going on this show. I'm about to be on the show. I'm about to go find the love of my life on the show. And that was my attitude, period, point blank. And guess what? That's exactly what I did. So I get to Texas. I'm getting my life together. What happened after that? Then I finally get the phone call from one of the producers, and she tells me, like, I have good news for you. We're flying you out. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, where are we going? Where am I flying to? And they were like, Fiji. And I was like, oh. Which I forgot to include. I literally had to fly to Chicago from California to get a passport, right? Because when I did the application, they needed my passport to be good for like 6 months, and mine was expiring. So I literally had to fly to Chicago to the passport agency, because that was the closest one that I can get an appointment the soonest to get a same-day passport. And I flew back to California within like 12 hours. So I was making moves to get on this show. Like, I was not playing around. Like, in my brain, I knew I was gonna be in this show. So it only made sense to put in the work, right? That's what I did too. And so anyways, yeah, they told me Fiji, and I was like, yes. Like, I just knew if I wouldn't have gotten that passport, then I wouldn't have been going to Fiji. Like, obviously. They basically let me know, like, yes, we're going to Fiji. We're flying you out on the first round of flyouts. Because, like, how it works is, you know, they'll fly in a big group of people during the first round of flyouts, right? And they kind of keep doing interviews with them in Fiji. They kind of, you know, the matchmakers are matchmaking, basically. And then they don't tell you like, oh, you're gonna be an OG, oh, you're gonna be a bombshell, oh, you're gonna be a costume girl. They don't tell you that. But I really, when I applied and I was told like, hey, casting's ending on Friday. We've been casting since January, and you know, this is closing right now. I'm automatically thinking like, yeah, you're probably gonna be like a costume girl. You're gonna probably be a late bombshell. Like, I'm thinking I'm gonna be coming into the show late. Whenever she told me like, yeah, we're flying you out, the first round of flyouts, like, I just knew. I was like, yeah, like, this is my time to shine. Like, I just knew. I just had a really good feeling about it. Like, my intuition, she was right. She was on cue with that. Then I continued to prepare. I ordered a bunch of stuff, y'all. Like, I had ordered so much stuff. A lot of the stuff that I ordered to take with me on the show didn't even come in time before I left on my flight. So that was a whole mumbo jumbo of drama. But at the end of the day, like, I made it to Fiji, and you know, I was waiting there. I still didn't know that I was gonna be an OG, and I started to, you know, do more interviews, like on camera interviews, and I was doing the photo shoots. And so in my brain, I'm like, dang, I'm probably an OG, because I never see the bombshells do these types of interviews. Like, you know, the first interviews on the first episode when it like introduces you into OGs, like during the first episode, I was doing those kind of interviews. So I was thinking to myself, like, I must be an OG. Like, it only makes sense for me to be an OG. But then after every one, they would tell me like, you know, we interview a lot of people just in case. And it was like they were trying to tell me like, girl, this does not mean you finna be an OG. Like, pipe down. So I was trying to stay humble. I was trying to pipe down like, okay, like, it's still up in the air, but you know, I'm just still wishing upon a star. So fast forward to like 2 days before the show started filming, and they came and got me from my hotel room, which you're in a room by yourself. You don't meet any of the cast members. Like, you guys watching me meet all the cast members was genuinely my first time meeting all of them. I didn't know any of them. So anyways, They come and get me from my hotel room, and I meet with some of the executive producers, and they sit me down, and we're talking, you know, whatever. I'm super excited. I don't know why I was excited, because I didn't know that they were gonna tell me that, because I didn't know we were about to start filming in 2 days. But I was just excited. Like, it was just something in my heart that was just so happy to see these executive producers like, hey y'all. And they basically sat down and told me like, yeah, unfortunately, we bring a lot of people out here, you know, just in case, and we kind of see how things are going, and unfortunately, some people just don't make it on, and some people aren't fortunate enough to be on the first episode. And like, instantly, my heart dropped. I was like, dang. I was like, but I was already, y'all, in my brain when the producer was telling me that, he was telling me like, girl, everybody don't make it on. Unfortunately, everybody don't make it on. In my heart, I was already like, well, thank you, God. Like, I was already like, I had accepted it, that I wasn't gonna be on the first episode, but I was already like, thank you, Jesus, for just having me here, you know? Thank you for this opportunity. Like, thank you for this far. Like, I was already so grateful in my heart, even me thinking he's giving me bad news, but then he says, but you're not one of those people. You're gonna be on the first episode. And when I tell you, I like smacked the table. I was like, let's go. I was like, oh. Like, I was just so excited, and I was wearing a face mask. So I'm so kind of like happy that I was wearing a face mask, because the way I was cheesing from ear to ear, the way I was showing all 32 of my teeth up under that mask, I was geeked. I was super happy. Like, honestly, that's something that I wanted, you know. Not only did I want to be on the show, but I wanted to be OG, because honestly, like, thinking of myself and how I am, I would not have been a great bombshell. You know what I'm saying? Like, for it to make sense, I needed to be an OG. And yeah, like, just think about me coming in trying to take somebody else, man. Like, I just wouldn't have been fit for the job. Like, I would have been too nice. I'd have been like, girl, like, do you really like him, or do you think? Yeah, it just wouldn't have been good. So whatever, I ended up being an OG, and I was super grateful. And then, you know, 2 days later, they started preparing us to go into the villa, and, you know, they brought us our white suitcase with our name on it, which I love that suitcase. Like, it just made everything so real for me, that white suitcase with KK across it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in the game. I'm in the game, right? But yeah, I think I pretty much answered most of the questions that people have for me going into it. Oh, I did want to mention that, you know, whenever I was deciding whether or not I really wanted to pursue going into this, one big factor for me was that my mom was going to be graduating nursing school this summer. And it was a big thing, because I'm a nurse, and, you know, she was graduating nursing school, and she did ask me to pin her. Like, when you graduate nursing school, you get a pin, and a nurse is supposed to pin you. It's just tradition for a nurse to pin you. And I do have like other nurses in my family. 2 of my aunts are nurses, but you know, my mom had asked me to do it, and I was super excited to do it. I was super proud to do it, and I just knew that, you know, if I went on this show, the chances of me not being back in time to see her walk across the stage and to pin her nurse pin on her, it really was like a big deal for me to decide. And ultimately, she was a super good sport. Like, I'm super grateful for her and how selfless she was in that situation, because she basically told me, like, girl, if you there or not, I'm gonna graduate, but if you miss this opportunity, it'll just be a missed opportunity. She's like, I'm not gonna miss an opportunity if you don't come. So even as much as I know she wanted me there, and as bad as I wanted to be there, like, that was the thing that was like, okay, like, she just gave me that leeway for me to be like, okay, this is something that's gonna be big for me, you know? And so that was a big deal for me, and why I almost didn't go on the show. Other than that, like, everything else pretty much aligned perfectly. Like, there was a lot of like zigzags and stuff that I had to zigzag through, but me zigzagging through them wasn't anything that was do or die. So ultimately, like, my experience of going on the show was amazing. And I feel like most people, like, if you ask most people, like, oh, how'd you get on the show? A lot of them were like recruited, and a lot of people actually were recruited months in advance, so they had a lot of time to prepare. They probably had a lot of like time of thinking like, oh, is this real? Is this really happening? Like, what are my chances of actually getting on the show? But for me, the process was easy. It was like applied, next thing you know, I'm in Fiji, like that. Like, it was so fast. And so that's how I just knew it was really meant for me, because you know, what's meant for you, you will always get. And so I did get that, and because it was meant for me, period, point blank. Cheers. Pretty much my experience of how I got on the show. And another frequently asked question. I'll answer like a few frequently asked questions about my journey into the villa. The question I get a lot is, how did you react when you knew you would be on the show? I was ecstatic. Like I said, I kind of talked about that, meeting with the executive producers and then sitting down and telling me like, yeah, you're gonna be an OG. So that was my reaction. I was ecstatic, but I think up until that point, everything was just up in the air. So you couldn't get super excited, but like my heart was super excited, because I just knew, like, I just imagined myself in that villa. Like, it was a real thing for me, like getting in that villa. What were your feelings going into the villa? Okay, so this is a question I get a lot too. Like, I'm gonna answer it all together, but like, what were my feelings going in there? Was I nervous? What were my expectations? What did I go into the villa to find? Okay, basically, I'm gonna try to make this short and sweet, but basically, I didn't think about, you know, what it was exactly that I was looking for going into the villa up until like I was told I was gonna be an OG. Then I started to think about like, okay, what are you going there for? Like, are you gonna go in there with a game plan to get that money at the end? Are you gonna try to hook up with somebody, stay with them the whole time to get that money? Like, are you gonna whatever? And I ultimately decided that my only goal for this whole entire experience was to be true to me, because I'm a firm believer in what's for you will come to you, and if you just be true to you, that's the way you're gonna get that. So that was ultimately my only thing that I was like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. It was just a matter of, I'm gonna be true to me. And I do believe that I did that. And you know, I did have a roller coaster of a journey, but we'll get into that in part 2. But ultimately, I went in there just thinking, I'm gonna be me, and you know, that's gonna lead me to the money. Super open to love, for sure. Like, I did feel like I was approaching that age of, you know, like, it's time to settle down, it's time to find somebody serious, it's time to, you know, whatever. I've been traveling, I've been in school all these years, I haven't had anything steady. So it was really important for me in this time period, not that I just had to find it in the villa, but in general, like turning 25 this year and, you know, pretty much establishing a career. It was really important for me to find someone and start to grow something with someone. So that was very heavy on my mind, but I didn't think that I would genuinely find someone that would actually be like my boyfriend, my partner, my husband. Like, I mean, because who thinks that, you know? At the end of the day, even watching the show, you'd be like, bruh, they're being so dramatic. Like, they're such good actors. Like, you know, you just think that because it's TV at the end of the day, right? Like, you just don't think it's so for real. But I will be one to say that the feelings are for real. They are genuine. It's not a bunch of acting. It's not scripted. You do have some prompts, you know. At the end of the day, the producers be producing and the matchmakers be matchmaking, and that's all I'm gonna say. That's that on that, nothing more, nothing less. That's it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you come back for part 2. I will be talking about my experience in the villa, my entire Love Island experience. So cheers. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next upload, period.